4 years have passed since the death of Prince Azim, son of the Sultan of Brunei. The Hollywood producer and favorite of the stars of world show business died of a mysterious illness at the age of 38. But many still do not believe the official version of the royal family. To dispel the rumors about the controversial life of the prince and in his memory, his loved ones made a touching movie that was shown in many cinemas in the country. But what was the real cause of the Prince Azim's death? And why didn't his Hollywood friends come to his funeral? Watch the video to the end to find out. Let's get started. On October 24, 2020, The Times published an unusual obituary. In touching terms, it expressed grief at the death of Prince Abdul Azim Bolkiah, a favorite of British and American showbiz stars. Condolences came from Sophia Loren, Naomi Campbell, and more than 100 other celebrities. The prince was especially loved in Hollywood and London, where he worked in the movie business and was known for his generosity. Azim's body was taken to the palace and buried according to Islamic custom. The eulogies of his friends and colleagues remained only on their social networks. None of them came to see their friend and benefactor off on his final journey. Only the prince's parents and members of the Brunei royal family attended the funeral. They knew exactly what had destroyed their beloved relative. Therefore, it is likely that Azim's overseas friends would not have been allowed to attend the funeral. To understand the reasons for the young prince's tragic death, it is necessary to study his life story. Azim was born in July 1982 into the family of Brunei's absolute monarch Hassanal Bolkiah. His mother, Mariam Abdul Aziz, became the second wife of the King of Brunei, and before that she worked as an ordinary stewardess. They had 4 children, the eldest of whom was Azim. When the prince was 21 years old, his parents divorced. Their relationship had been unstable even before the breakup, and so the boy's childhood was full of contrasts. He was forced to watch intrigues and scandals in the palace. On the other hand, Azim was spoiled by his father, who showered him with luxurious gifts. Once he gave his son a Game Boy console made of solid gold with diamonds. However, the boy found it too heavy, so he asked his father for an ordinary plastic gadget. Instead of pedal cars, little Azim rode miniature Lamborghinis, and Disney dolls were delivered to him on private jets straight from America. On coming of age, the prince received from his father $5 billion and carte blanche for any endeavor. Paradoxically, the Sultan's generosity may have led to the tragedy that we will tell you about below. Unlike his brother Abdul Mateen, Azim was skeptical about studying or playing sports. He gradually studied at various universities, including Oxford, but there is no record of his graduation. In 2008, when the prince turned 25, his father insisted that his son attend the Royal British Military Academy. He studied there for a week and then simply disappeared in an unknown direction. Azim was far more interested in creative pursuits than the military. Tracks of the Prince of Brunei soon led to London. Here he founded a film company, Garel Prince Productions, the name symbolizing his origin. Azim took the post of general producer in the organization and immersed himself in the glamorous life. His film company mainly produced British comedies. In 2014 followed perhaps Abdul Azim's greatest success. The movie You're Not You, released by him, did not receive large box office receipts, but was met with positive feedback from film critics. In the prince's imagination, the future was colorful, and he saw himself standing on the stage with an Oscar statuette. Unfortunately, the first success of the prince's film company was the only one. The next 2 movies went unnoticed by the world cinema. By the end of the 2000s, however, Azim was less attracted to film production than to the bohemian life surrounded by celebrities. Unable to lure top stars with extravagant roles, the prince simply bought their attention. His generosity is still legendary in show business circles. In 2009, Azim invited all of London's socialites to his birthday party. To impress the guests, the prince spent almost $90,000 on flowers alone. Each guest received a $25,000 gift certificate. It included a safari tour to Kenya, the latest smartphone, satellite navigator, a picture of a fashionable artist, and a full-service voucher for an elite dental clinic. Such events were commonplace for the billionaire prince. Understandably, Shauda's stars adored him and tried to get as close as possible to the generous Azim. Among his friends were Michael Jackson and Pamela Anderson, Mariah Carey and singer Usher, to whom the prince gave diamond-studded Nike sneakers. Interestingly, the prince did not become a narcissistic egoist while socializing with the glamorous party. Just as generously, he helped charitable foundations that raised money for the treatment of poor people. Prince Azim had no idea that he would soon need medical attention of his own. In 2020, the prince began treatment for a relatively rare disease called systemic vasculitis. This disease affects the blood vessels and causes all internal organs to fail. Doctors tend to believe that vasculitis is a genetic disease activated by nervous experiences. Azim had a lot of stress in the last years of his life. It all started when his father, Sultan Bolkiah, issued an unusually harsh decree. He ordered that Bruneians found to have unconventional relationships be executed by stoning. Prominent gay blogger Paris Hilton has accused the prince of doing nothing to alleviate the plight of gays in Brunei. Paris Hilton himself claimed that Azim was gay and that they had even spent time together. According to the blogger, Azim may have influenced his father to overturn the cruel decree. Many of the prince's American and British socialite acquaintances thought so too. They turned their backs on him, effectively boycotting him. This came as a terrible shock to the prince, as he had worked so hard to gain their attention and friendship. Perhaps this led to the activation of the dormant genetic disease. With unlimited resources, the father naturally tried to save his son. The best doctors were at his service, but they were powerless. In October 2020, the aristocrat and playboy who had almost everything died. At the time, many did not believe the official cause of death that Prince Abdul Mateen announced on his Instagram. Some sources claimed that Azim actually had liver cancer, which the prince had been fighting for a long time in a private medical center. Perhaps it was the effects of countless parties where alcohol flowed like water. Although the Sultan did not approve of his son's lifestyle, he fulfilled his paternal duties to the end. Prince Azim was buried in the royal mausoleum, and 7 days of mourning were declared throughout the country. After Azim's death, there was some tension in Brunei due to rumors about the prince. His brother Prince Mateen and sisters Azima and Fadzila released a documentary in memory of their brother titled Prince Azim, Son of Art. It features home movies from his childhood, rare footage of the late prince's colorful life and interests through the eyes of his family and friends. The film premiered on Azim's birthday and was shown in many theaters across the country. Most of the proceeds from ticket sales went to charitable foundations that Prince Azim actively supported. Many are certain that it was glamorous society that brought the prince to a tragic end. He tried to live its values, to befriend the stars and to become one of them. As a result, he was rejected by show business and misunderstood in his homeland. In any case, Prince Azim definitely left his mark on the history of his country. His memory will live on, despite all the rumors and mysteries surrounding him. What do you think about this sad story? Share in the comments. Subscribe to our channel and give us a like if you enjoyed the video. See you soon.